Yes, good old TJ.
Konnichiwa, Neil got Baron and Reggie video. And today, guys, we are on any new channel. This one is called How Archer Became Who He Is. Counter Guardian Eminia explain Fate Stay Night lore. So we just did like the Fate lore on another channel of Eminia, talking about like how he came to be and everything like that. I think this one's gonna go more in detail about like his abilities and stuff like that. So we're still going to like his lore a little bit, but I think we're gonna get more of his like abilities and stuff like that with this video. So further ado, before we get into it, guys, like, subscribe on the video, comment on the video, everything like that. Hit the bell notification, make sure you click all so never time make a future upload, and go ahead and go follow the Facebook page. All right, guys. So without further ado, get right to it. So play.
I really wanted to start this episode with some spectacular opening line because, you know, it's Shiro Emiya, Fate's poster boy himself. He's in pretty much every variation and timeline of the Fate series, and even when he's not, he still kind of is. But for some reason, I just couldn't think of anything quite fitting enough to introduce this absolute legend. Just to be clear though, I'm not talking about this Shiro. I'm talking about this Shiro, the Faker of Archers, the Wrought Iron Hero, the Protector of Balance, but most importantly, a hero of justice. Or is he?
Let's see what any news is like a difference of like anything he talks about from the other video we already watched.
I'm sure all of you are already very familiar with pre-heroic spirit Shiro. I mean, he's the main character of the most popular Fate anime, so it's only natural that you're aware of who he is. But you probably have so many questions regarding how he was even able to be summoned as a servant in the Fifth Holy Grail War. Like, what made him become a heroic spirit in the first place?
He made that pen with a
word. Why does he
word.
want to kill his past self, and so on and so forth? So let's place ourselves at the end of the Fifth Holy Grail War, where Shiro and Saber have just destroyed the Holy Grail after winning the war together. They part ways shortly after because Shiro was unable to help Saber fulfill her true wish. So Shiro goes to London with Rin instead to study magecraft. It's there he becomes obsessed with the idea of being a hero of justice. Not like he wasn't already infatuated with the idea before. But in order to realize his true potential, he starts to work as a magus for hire. But no matter what training and experience he got, his abilities just were never at the point where he wanted them to be. Nevertheless, he persisted, even if it did mean fighting against corrupted entities similar to Angola-Mania, who were far stronger.
What the heck is that?
Retreat and try again. A little later down the road, Shiro is faced with a crisis where 100 lives hang in the balance. Realizing that his current self would be unable to save them, the world, or more specifically, Alaya, appears before Shiro.
Yeah, Alaya and Gaia.
Power in exchange for his service as a counter guardian after death. But what even is Alaya, or this so-called counter guardian? Well, Alaya refers to the collective will of mankind to survive.
Right.
It's one of two components
It's Alaya and
of the world,
Gaia.
along with Gaia, which refers to the planet's will to survive. Don't get the two confused though. Alaya only drives on the existence of humanity, whereas Gaia will not hesitate to just kill all of mankind if the planet as a whole is at risk. So these two supernatural entities that exist outside of space and time work together to make up what's called the counterforce. And the counterforce is basically an instinctual reaction that prevents the destruction of the world by summoning super OP creatures or counter guardians to restore balance. How they restore balance though, we'll get into that shortly. Now back to Shiro. Being presented with the ability to save everyone, he doesn't hesitate to enter this contract with Alaya. As far as Shiro was concerned, not only would he be able to save those 100 people, he would also be able to continue saving people after death as a counter guardian. Or so he thought anyway. Now with
Yeah, it definitely wasn't what you thought it was.
To essentially create miracles, he is able to save countless lives and through that achieves enough fame to enter into the Throne of Heroes and be classified as a heroic spirit. Shiro's final act as a human was bringing an end to a great war, but somewhere along the way he was betrayed and he became branded as the root cause of it. As such, humanity, being the forgiving creatures that they are, turned their back on him and sentenced him to death. It is in death that Shiro's new existence as a counter guardian begins. All pumped up and ready to start saving people again, Shiro quickly realizes that it's not at all what he was expecting it to be like. Although he did end up using his godlike powers to save humanity time and time again, the method in which he did it was the complete opposite of everything.
Like, just seeing this, man, like the lore of this character is like so sad, man.
It will send a single agent to eliminate the threat. And when I say eliminate, I don't mean simply take out all those deemed guilty by the world. I mean kill everything and
Anybody.
everyone that's remotely
Yep.
close to the area that he was sent to. It's
Mm-hmm.
pretty much the world just saying, fuck it, let's start over and just nuke this place. And that's exactly what Shiro did. He would save humanity from its own
Kids,
demise
that's
by
crazy.
killing again and again and again. And as I said, this wasn't just killing a guilty few. The casualty count probably numbered in the millions each time. That's only a wild guess, but considering that it's a scene
So if
from
you
the
see him
Atlantis
get appear out of nowhere by you,
then
just
a
know you're
couple
dead.
million might even be
Basically.
on the low side. So Shiro's
Everybody in
fate
this
is
area
beyond
is
Eli's
over
age.
with. His season's
Manifesting
over.
back on Earth at different points in time to repeatedly witness and enact the very opposite of what he stood for. Eventually, he just came to realize that his ideal was a lie, and that Kiritsugu was right. It's impossible to save everyone. It's easier to just maintain a balance and save the majority at the cost of a few. It just so happened that in Shiro's case, the few were scaled to a much larger number. But when compared to humanity as a whole, it was still a small price to pay. Eventually, Shiro became fed up with his existence as a counter-guardian. He essentially spent all eternity faced with the fact that no matter what he did, he wouldn't ever be able to save everyone, and this became a truly painful existence for him. As such, he devised a plan to free himself from his role as Elia's agent of death. He saw an opening as a heroic spirit to be summoned as a servant during the Fifth Holy Grail War. That way, if he was able to kill his past self before ever being able to form a contract with Elia, it would create a big enough time paradox that it would erase his existence as a
But
counter-guardian.
it's not gonna work.
So, as you already know, he finally got his chance and was summoned as an archer in the Fifth Holy Grail War. And that puts us right back to the beginning of where we started. From what I understand though, the timeline where Shiro becomes a counter-guardian and the timeline where Heroic Spirit Shiro is summoned are two completely different universes. They're alternate timelines representing two different potential futures for Shiro. That way, it doesn't end up becoming an infinite loop of Shiro always becoming a counter-guardian, then regretting it, and returning back to the Fifth Holy Grail War to prevent it from happening. Which makes me wonder then, who was Rin's servant in the timeline where Shiro does become the counter-guardian? Because I don't think it would be Heroic Spirit
Right,
Shiro,
that would make.
otherwise they
Yeah,
would
that's a
be
good question. Who was her
If you're more familiar with how the
her
timeline is
spirit?
set, then let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know more about
Her
Shiro's
servant,
timeline
I should
from
say.
before he was summoned in the Fifth Holy Grail War. But yeah, that's the legend of Heroic Spirit and counter-guardian Shiro Emiya. In life, he was betrayed time and time again by those he had trusted. He only had his strong belief and ideals to go by. But the world had other plans for him, and in the end, even those ended up betraying him, resulting in his eternal desire to find a way to cease existence. It's really quite the tragedy when you think about it.
That's what I'm
But
saying.
I
Like
guess
this,
that's what fate's known for.
this thing
A
is
few other important bits of
tragedy.
information regarding Shiro
at
during
its
his time as
finest.
a servant are the circumstances of his summoning and the lack of memories he has from his time as a human. He's able to be summoned because throughout eternity he had kept the jewel that Rin used to save his life. And this jewel just so happened to also be the catalyst that was used by Rin at the time of the summoning. Once summoned though, he claims that the only memory he recalls from his time alive was the summoning of Saber and the day that he was saved by Kiritsugu. Although he seems to also remember Rin after seeing her face, but that's pretty much it. If you're also wondering why Shiro's complexion seems to have changed over time, there's actually a reason for it. Apparently, years and years of projection magic, along with literally using his body as materials to produce these projections, are what caused his skin to darken and his eyes and hair to whiten. It turns out that the whole "I am the bone of my sword" thing, it has some literal meaning behind it. As for his alter appearance, I have no idea, don't ask me. So that's
Oh, it's an
all the
alter version of
essential
it.
information
Oh,
you
I
need to
we
understand
gotta
the
look at
Guardian
that.
Turned heroic spirit, Shiro Emiya. Is he still a hero for justice? I guess that depends on what your definition of justice is. Now, this is normally where I'd segue into his abilities and noble phantasms, but I didn't quite realize how complex his unlimited Bladeworks reality marble was, so I'll make that into its own separate video that I promise will come out much sooner than you think. I apologize for the recent influx of My Hero Academia content, but I assure you, a lot more explained videos are on the way, both for Fate.
All right, man. How Archer became who he is, the counter guardian, Eminia, explain, fate, stay lore. Yeah, man. That's pretty crazy. Like I said, this guy Shirio's like backstory is like really sad. Like that's nutty. Like that's crazy. Like you really get betrayed for what you're trying to do, what you're trying to believe in, and you end up becoming something you didn't believe in, and you actually start doing what you didn't believe in, and like past like in future lives after you die and everything like that, because you become the counter guardian after like stuff like gets wild in the world. That's crazy. But yeah, like I said, we gotta look at that Archer and Mini. We gotta look at that. God, look at that. But like I said, guys, like, subscribe on the video, comment down below and everything like that. Subscribe channel if you're new. The bell notification, make sure you click all, so every time I make a future upload. Yeah, guys, like I said, this guy Saber, man, like not Saber, this guy Archer, man, is just wow, bro. Could you just imagine? Can you imagine doing that? Like, okay, first you couldn't help your what you call it, your servant Saber. You couldn't help her fulfill her wish after they won the Grill War. Then you go to London, you do all this other stuff. Then you try to like learn magecraft and everything like that to a certain degree. But then you in a predicament where you need to help 100 people, or else they're gonna die. Then you got to get help from literally the world to like sign a contract with the world. And then you become something that you didn't want to become. It's like I said, man, that's all I can just go into, man. But like I said, guys, like, subscribe on the video. Just want to I'm out. Peace.